What's up, dudes and dudettes? It's Connor with Hound Dog Motorsports, and in this video I do a ton of engine work to the BMW. Nothing like building the motor, putting new cams in, but maintenance that needs to be done. I'm re-recording the intro to this, so this is done after the fact, mostly in the light of the situation that's quite literally involving light. Yesterday was really overcast and the footage just came out terribly. But this is a 2-day project, so the video might be a little bit longer than my normal ones. Sorry I've been missing out on you guys for the last couple of months, actually. I've been pretty busy with life. As a matter of fact, since the last video I recorded, I've lost an additional 30 pounds. And I've hit my goal weight, 150 pounds lost. I'm down to 188, actually a little bit past that, since my starting weight was 338. But besides that, I've had a lot of other things going on, like jiu-jitsu. Shout out to Rough Stock, shout out to Austin, shout out to everyone there. Absolutely love you guys. Work has been busy, holidays, so on and so forth. But we are now back to the action with the BMW, so let's get right to it. So I've also done work on the chopper. I got that up and running. I painted it. By paint it, I mean I've rusted it out and put a clear coat on it like I've always wanted to do, which is really cool. Also didn't record that, so I feel really bad. And what got me into this was my homie Byron. Shout out to Byron if you're watching this. And he said, man, you should have recorded that. So that's really what motivated me to, get back into recording my hobbies and, working on cars, trucks, and motorcycles again. So as you can see here, I already got it slightly taken apart. As you guys know, this is probably a big job for a lot of you. I haven't done this before specifically. And I also didn't buy a gasket kit for it, so we're just going to reuse the same gaskets, of which it looks like it should be fine. They just need a bit of cleaning. But yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and get into the work and get everything put back together as it should be. Once we finish walnut blasting it, I do see a little leakage coming from a little bit of everything, but as time goes on, we're going to address that. Right now, we're just focused on getting this intake blasted. Cracking out the adjustables to pull this auto control thing off. Damn dog, she really does not want to come off. She's out. If you guys see here, specifically right there, I'm missing a nut. Right there, missing a bolt. And then it looks like that bolt right here is supposed to be right there. That is no bueno. A little disappointing that that work was performed like that, but I have all the tools needed and all the hardware needed, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the right stuff in when I put it back together. That's why I always recommend, just doing stuff yourself so it's done the right way. Another unsurprising thing that I've found is that this box is also just broken off. Now I'm going to crack all these loose. And like I said, y'all, this is not a how-to video at all. If you guys really want a good how-to video on this, go watch Calvin MC. He has a great video on this and how to do this. Alright, she's out on that side. She's out total. First look. O-rings are good. Oily, but good. Probably indicative of my valve cover leak. Good night. They are dirty. Good Lord. I gotta get y'all a close-up on this. Just look. Crusty. 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 Dusty. Old and musty. Good Lord, dude. So what I'm going to do now is tape off all the open cylinders. I have 2 and 3. I don't know the firing order, so I think this is 2 and 3, or whatever it may be. Those are currently closed. I'm going to tape off the rest of them so no silica or anything gets in there. Put down a blanket, Alright, so I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but I got everything set up. I got all the ports blocked off besides the one I'm going to work on. Moving blanket in, wet dry vac up and set up, even put duct tape on the attachment. Got the hose going. I'm going to start up my air compressor and we're going to blast off with number 1.
3 days later.
Alright, a little update for y'all. It is obviously not going good. For some reason, my nozzle and literally any attachment I throw onto the end of the gun just is not working. So what I've been having to do is the manual way. So I hit it with some brake cleaner, and then I hit it with the nozzle. I let that soak for a while. I hit it with some air, and just back and forth, but it is getting done. I'm probably going to film the rest of the progress. You know, even my GoPro's fucking up, but it's cold outside. Shit like that's going to happen. And we're going to thug it out. So hopefully I'll finish this up in the next 3 hours. Fingers crossed, because I still got to get to the Vanos system down there. So stick along for the ride. I've slapped everything back together. It looks good. I've cleaned off the gasket surfaces. I even refilled the first cylinder. I think that's the first cylinder, the one right here. Went ahead and cleaned it out again because I wasn't confident on it. And now what I'm going to do is slap everything back together. So hopefully I'll be done by 7 o'clock. You never know. I even got the new nuts and bolts that I needed. It's mostly just nuts. Alright, this is probably going to be as much as a bitch getting back in as it was taking it out. There we go. Shout out to Ace. Don't waste your time at Home Depot looking for nuts and bolts. Always go to Ace. They are always stellar with their organization of that stuff. A lot of people, where they mess up, they go one by one, and these need to be systematically tightened. I hate to say it, but sometimes you just gotta hot tool that shit. Yeah, because that doesn't move. The fuck? That's interesting. Yeah, I think it's good to go. They said if you go near the exhaust, it starts to smell like walnuts. All I smell is like gas and ethanol. So, all right, taking it for a little test drive. That did not sound good. Oh, it's all good. Lip was already broken anyway. I gotta get a new one. Well, new one's already shipping. But, you know, Christmas makes everything more difficult to get. Alright, with that stressor off my plate, we can now service the Vanos system. Let's get started. Alright guys, today's challenge is to clean the Vanos solenoids. And then also inspect the boost controllers and look for any source of the code that I'm generating. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I'm pretty tired. Yeah, it can be solved by one of those two, or you buy a new Vanos, or it's the seal, or you switch it over to a Teflon instead of the metal, because that was a quiet fix from BMW. Womp, 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 this, that, and the third. But the cheapest and simplest solution is to apply power to it using my power supply, and then clean it out with some cleaner. Now, that's what we are going to do. Really don't want to keep working on this thing. I would rather just relax, play Tarkov or Call of Duty, or lay around with my dogs. But, dude, I'm 2 out of 3 projects done with this over the weekend. Spent 8 hours on it yesterday. Spent another 4 hours cleaning this morning and cleaning the car. But we're all back and ready to go, so we might as well just finish it up. So, let's just get right to it, I guess. Alright, so I can see how this is not that bright. So my apologies, because I can even barely see. Actually, no, I can see them pretty well. I've already cleaned them before, so I'm you know, just no problem, you know, doing it again. I am going to put the engine beauty cover back on. I don't like the way it looks without it. I think it looks tacky, especially with the wiring exposed and stuff like that. I also got to fix the wiring here. Let me take you guys for a tour of this rat's nest. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it's pretty fucking bad. Like, look at that there. I'm not sure if it's focusing, but you can see that's just twisted on to that connector there, and then it's just twisted on to that stud there. Don't know who did that, but whoever did that, I hope you have the day you deserve, because that's super bad. You can also still see I got some walnut still in there. That's terminated, but that looks factory. Got some slightly exposed wiring down there. I'm gonna fix that eventually. Still gotta fix the pinch here on the connectors, the OBD2, but I know those don't work, so it's not like it really matters. A lot of stuff. Oh yeah, and I also trimmed out the cowl. I'm gonna put some rubber guarding along it, so it looks prettier than what it is. But man, that really changed it. I have some air ducts being 3D printed for them right now on my printer. This is what one of them looks like. Ignore the beer. That's probably like the first beer I've had in 6 months, or 3 months, 4, whatever. Can't count. But this is an air duct for it that I 3D printed it. And it's going to fit over just like that. It's going to look really cool. My only concern is that the hood, hopefully the hood shuts with it on, but we'll find out. All right, let's stop delaying and actually start working on this. So as you guys can see here, I have my power supply hook up, but no leads because I can't find them. I have no idea where they went. I'm pretty sure they got lost when I moved here. So I got to go out and order new ones. Sucks, but you know, it's whatever. This will work regardless. I have my clamp leads, which is nice, but I just don't have like the screw-on caps, the leads that, you know, the wires that you can screw into them. So can't do that. I don't even think these will fit. All right, brake cleaner in hand. Seals seem healthy. That's the one. What? This one. A little bit. No, it's that side. I will say the number one thing that pisses me off about LED lights is that they will just go dark. Like they'll dim themselves out just to like conserve power or whatever the fuck it may be. But it really, really, really drives me up the wall. Alright. Pulling back the pin. Then walk her forward and then walk her back to break that seal. And I'm using my plastic pry bar. You never want to use metal on this. That will break it. Alright, she's already sliding out. She's out. Alright, now doing the same thing here. I'm going to get the major axis off with this. Now keep in mind I am using a lint-free shop towel. Pulling the rings off. Spraying the ports. And one reason why I say not to use a pry bar or anything metal on these, I'm not sure if you guys can tell in the video. Let me get a little bit closer. But this sucker is warped. Not like warped like from heat, but just bent up from it being pried on in the past. There is a slight angle to it. Not saying that's going to be a night and day difference, whether that's affecting functionality or not. What I am saying is that and if that's being applied to in the future on like a gasket or something, that's gonna gasket, like exhaust manifold gasket on a BMW. Granted, you're not going to reuse it. You shouldn't reuse it, but if you're trying to save money, like when I first started out with cars, but that's tomato. Like, just, it's a good word of thumb. If it needs a good mating surface, word of thumb, word of mouth, thumb, whatever. If it needs to be reused, or it's a soft metal surface, or if it has a specific mating surface, you absolutely do not want to do that shit. We're back. I just researched it. Exhaust is top, intake is bottom. Let me double check that. No, intake is top, exhaust is bottom. Intake was the one I was having problems with, so we're going to label it. Because, you know, you always label the problem child. And we're going to hit it with, I don't know, just an I for intake. Not going to label the other one because I don't want to confuse myself. That would only be like a pin stroke difference. I'm going to throw this back in the car now and hope the code doesn't return. If it does, we got to do open heart surgery on the head. I think we have to pull the cams, which really sucks. Not really. It's not that difficult of a job. It's just time consuming. But also the valve cover gasket needs to be replaced. So kill 22 birds with 2 stones. All right, back to the engine. Alright, so I can see how this is not that bright, so my apologies, because I can even barely see. Actually, no, I can see them pretty well. I've already cleaned them before, so I'm you know, just no problem, you know, doing it again. I am going to put the engine beauty cover back on. I don't like the way it looks without it. I think it looks tacky, especially with the wiring exposed and stuff like that. I also got to fix the wiring here. Let me take you guys for a tour of this rat's nest. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it's pretty fucking bad. Like, look at that there. I'm not sure if it's focusing, but you can see that's just twisted on to that connector there, and then it's just twisted on to that stud there. Don't know who did that, but whoever did that, I hope you have the day you deserve, because that's super bad. You can also still see I got some walnut still in there. That's terminated, but that looks factory. Got some slightly exposed wiring down there. I'm gonna fix that eventually. Still gotta fix the pinch here on the connectors, the OBD2, but I know those don't work, so it's not like it really matters. A lot of stuff. Oh yeah, and I also trimmed out the cowl. I'm gonna put some rubber guarding along it so it looks prettier than what it is. But man, that really changed it. This is an air duct for it that I 3D printed it, and it's gonna fit over just like that. It's gonna look really cool. My only concern is that the hood, hopefully the hood shuts with it on, but we'll find out. And she's in. And if you also notice, these are two different size bolts. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Yet another disappointing factoid about this car. We finished just in time for the notification that my Bamboo printer has finished the shields for the intakes. So I'm gonna go ahead, go upstairs, get that, take off the tree supports, and then install those, and then we'll be done with this car for today because I am tired of touching it. All right, here we have the intake ducts for the cabin intake because I did the Cowl Delete and came out pretty well. I used PETG, just generic PETG printer profile for Sunlu on Bamboo Studio, and it came out pretty good, I will say. I'm thoroughly impressed. I really like the honeycomb style. There were low pro versions, but I'm just hoping that these clear and I just didn't waste, like, I think this was like 250 grams of filament. But only one way to find out, so we're gonna go ahead and slap them on. Fingers crossed that we close this and we don't hear a crunch. To be honest, I'm shocked. Wow, I'm impressed. Just gotta double check the work pop the hood one more time. They're fine. That's crazy. Sick. Can't even tell how Walnut blasted this hoe. Awesome.
It's about damn time.
Alright, dudes and dudettes, that is all for this video. I appreciate you all sticking around. I also really, really appreciate you guys, especially the people that watch my channel frequently, being patient and sticking around for the last few months, asking, oh, why haven't I uploaded and stuff like that. Been really busy with a lot of things, from jiu-jitsu to work to I've lost 50 pounds since I started the channel, hit my goal weight, and just various other things in life. Life gets you busy. It's busy all the time. I just always stay busy. So people that watch the channel, like I said, like those people. So I really appreciate y'all sticking around, man. It really means a lot to me, especially when I post stuff on Instagram and you guys ask, oh, why didn't you do a video on that, like the chopper build? It just really motivates me to keep this stuff up. I do got a lot of stuff coming for the BMW. I got a new lip coming in because I fractured the last lip, so you guys will see me do a lip install I will do a walkthrough of the things that I've done to the car so far since my last upload, like the RTD shifter and a few other things, and like the Cowl Delete, and just a whole ton of stuff. I even got the body kit in, the N3 body kit, like the side skirts, and a fender, a single fender, because I'm not going to go N3 fenders. I feel like that's too much of a fake up badge. So I'm just sticking with stock fenders because you know that one fender is cracked. And I'll probably do another video of the things that need to be done to it, so you guys will know what's coming down the pipeline. But besides that, I'd appreciate it if you guys would like, comment, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.